Now what you have here, this is your terminal. This is the environment that we're going to do most of our activities. The first thing being, we're going to scan our network looking for that targeted metasploitable virtual machine. Before we can do that though, we've got to understand our environment, and if you ever enroll in any of my security classes, you hear me say this a lot. There are very few musts when it comes to pen testing. You don't have to do anything. Most problems can be solved a number of different ways. The one clear exception is you must understand your environment. If you hope to attack a system in your environment, you must understand that environment. So what we're going to do initially is we're going to take a look at our network, and we're going to type in the command IP space ADDR. This command allows us to see the current configuration of our environment. And when we do that, we see that we have an ETH0, and this gives us access to the internet. And this is what we would use for doing research on any of these services or protocols that we discover. And we have something called VBoxNet0 that has the IP address 192.168.56.1. This is the connection to the host-only network I was mentioning earlier. This is the connection that we're going to use for Kali to attack our virtual machine. We still don't know what that virtual machine is. So what we're going to have to do is, as I say here, very near the top, we've done the IP address. Now what we want to do is the nmap command, where we actually scan the network. We give the network an address of 56.0, and we scan every IP on that /24 or class C network, depending on how old school you are. So let's go ahead and try that. Nmap, the IP address of the network, 56.0/24, how big the network is. And when we run that, we're going to get a couple of discoveries, depending on the version of nmap that is running. Sometimes you see more, this time we see a little less, but that's okay for our needs. We find what we're looking for. Now we find this one at 56.1. Now we've already seen 56.1. That is the address, let's call it the gateway address for our VirtualBox host-only network into Ubuntu. So we can ignore 56.1. So we have another one here, 56.101. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff running on that IP address. I think we found our target machine, but we can do a little bit better. Not only have we found all of these different protocols that are running, these different services, we can also try and find out specific vendor and version information of these different services. And that's what we're going to take a look at next. It is done with the nmap command again, but this time we're looking for services -s and then uppercase V for the version information of those services. And now we have an IP address, 192.168.56.1. Now I could type that out, 192.168.56.101, but I'm not a very good typer. So what I like to use is the copy-paste feature in Linux. You use the middle mouse button that you can see right there. The little mouse button that you normally roll sometimes can actually be used as a button, a middle button. And this is how you use it. You double click on what you want to copy, and then you depress that middle button, and it pastes it wherever you are in your terminal prompt. Again, how did I do that? I double click on what I want to copy, I depress the middle button, and as you can see here, it copy pastes whatever I have highlighted at my prompt in the terminal. And now I can do a detailed scan of my target IP address. This might take a little longer. And please be advised of two things while we let this run. First, this nmap tool is not a hacker tool. This is actually a network mapping tool that sysadmins, systems administrators, use to map out IP addresses and services running on their network. It works so well that hackers have actually adopted it as one of their intel gathering tools, and it works really well. Second, we are just using a couple of options with nmap. There are many, many more options. We just don't have time to go into them today, unfortunately. But as you can see with our results here, we have a lot more information about the services that are running. We knew it was FTP. Now we know it's VSFTP version 2.3.4. We knew it was, that's a good one, the Unreal IRC daemon. Now we knew it was IRC. Now we know it's the Unreal IRC daemon, I should see. We see we have SSH, and we see that we have Apache running as well. We're going to take a look at all 4 of those services today, as you can see in your handout, where I've bolded those 4 lines. That's what we're going to take a look at. That's what we're going to focus on today.